In part 2, we're continuing our heartfelt talk with Bria about how to heal health debt, restore energy, and rediscover joy in midlife. If you've been wondering how to nourish yourself while supporting family, this episode will help you see why prioritizing your wellness doesn't take away from your loved ones, it actually inspires them. Stay tuned. Welcome to Fulfillment Therapy. I'm Kendra Nielsen, wife, mom, and licensed therapist. Do you ever feel like you're doing everything right, but you're still exhausted and empty? Did you think life, marriage, and parenting would be simpler and more rewarding? Sometimes you just want to crawl back into bed and lose yourself in screen time and chocolate, rather than face that personal or family stress. You are not alone. This podcast helps you break free of the rat race and build a richer, more meaningful life, flourishing incrementally and realistically, improving your mental health and wellness, and living with deeper purpose beyond the mundane, no matter where you are in life's journey. And when you say functional labs, do you mean like a functional medicine doctor? What do you mean exactly?
Yeah, there's different types, right? But I think a functional medicine doctor can run labs like this. But I'm talking about like conventional labs are going to be what we get when we go to our general practitioner, right? We're going to get a nice CBC. We're going to get a metabolic blood panel. If there's something major that comes up, we might get some more blood work done. But primarily they are there and they're looking at disease. They're looking at a very wide range in the blood work of all the people of all the health in all the world. And that's not necessarily optimized. It does help us know you don't have a disease, which is a really important, I think, thing to come to terms with. But it doesn't tell us anything below the surface. It doesn't say, are we optimized or not? It doesn't look at all at your gut microbiome and how it's doing breaking down your nutrients, which are the ingredients for our hormones, how it's doing getting the hormones out of our body. And that's where a lot of the problems actually come in for women in midlife.
Yeah. And I have to ask, because you said all these things that I'm like, yeah, that doesn't sound too bad. But there's such a big spectrum here when it comes to like good nutrition, functional movement, good sleep. Depending on the client, they'll be like, yeah, mine's totally good. And then you break it down and you're like, oh, maybe it's not so good. So people might say, yeah, I'm doing pretty well. Could you maybe share with us like how it started to look for you when you started to feel like there was a shift and you were starting to have more success than before that you didn't even know you were necessarily missing because it had been your baseline for so long?
Yeah, that's a great question. I quite like that. So for me, like I shared how I'd been feeling at that time. And I think I learned that I really needed to learn to slow down a little. And again, be more like the CEO. Let's just like, pay attention, not just all the output all the time, but let's like analyze and look at what the input is. So what I recognized was I was exhausted and I started to just turn off my alarm and let my sleep go where it went on the days that it could. Instead of setting an alarm at 4:30 and downing a highly caffeinated pre-workout just so I could push through a 45-minute workout, I got up a bit later. I did some yoga and some stretching and some walking. And all of a sudden I noticed, oh, I'm not exhausted falling asleep in the afternoon or like reaching for that caffeine. And I'm not falling asleep in my kids' beds while I read them stories at night. There's little things when you start to pay attention to the analytics. If you don't have kids at that age, you might notice like, oh, all of a sudden I just feel like I have a bit more capacity, like my brain is firing a little bit faster. So for me, when I took some of the demand off of my life that I could, because a lot of women have a lot of demand on their lives and we can't change those things. But when I took the demand off my body that I was putting on my body for a short period of time, I very quickly saw, oh, I feel happier. I have more energy. And then my sleep got a little bit better. It didn't correct right away. It took me about 4 months, Kendra, of just doing yoga and mobility work and walking to have the capacity to just focus on quality nutrition, because it's really hard to have really good nutrition if your body's exhausted. You're going to crave sugar. You're going to crave salt. You're going to not make time to have a meal. So now you're snacking and grazing all day. So I think it's important to try to answer that for you. It's important to look at the little signs that your body gives you, the little messages, the languages that it speaks to you in 24 to 48 hours after you make a choice.
I really appreciate you saying that, because I think the message so much, the culture around 20s and 30s is to like really screw your body. Who cares what it's saying? Do whatever you want. You've got this. You can eat fast food every day and still have no belly. Just, you're fine. Do whatever you want. I was always the one that was just killing it at the gym. And it's been harder and harder to like maintain that. I understand now why people get into yoga. So I appreciate you speaking to your own thing. Like, I want to read some of these again that I just jotted down some notes. Some of the things that you did is no alarm, more yoga, stretching, walking. You noticed your brain capacity increasing. You removed some of the demand in your life where you could. You felt happier. You got a little bit better sleep. You had more capacity to improve your nutrition, which that makes me laugh thinking about it, because my Achilles heel is definitely sugar. Man, but bakeries, oh, so good. But yeah, like sugar, breads, all of these things that I'm like, that's what I want when I'm feeling hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Some of these things you talk about in mental health. I am slowing down, but it's slowly slowing down. I think a lot of clients are that way, where there would be more capacity. This week, my husband and I were like, okay, let's just try meal prepping, not for like major other reasons, except for to reset a little bit and do more of the whole foods and just see how we like it. Anyway, we're just trying different things because we recognize like the pace that we've been going is not sustainable. So it's always these tiny course corrections like you were making and helping your clients make. So I appreciate you speaking to that and what it looks like and how we can maybe get there too.
Yeah, thank you. I think especially when we've been driven so much with fitness for a lot of us. Like I said, I love fitness. I think it's great, but we neglect to see it for the athletic demand that it is. So if you're going to put that kind of athletic demand on your body, you got to sleep like an athlete. You got to fuel like an athlete. And if those things aren't in place, you're just doing more damage than good. So it's always better to take a step back and do the almost like athletic prep work before you can get in. And then you'll get the best results you deserve when you're putting in this effort. So prioritizing at least properly holding space and sleep habits, get your nutrition nailed and your mobility work nailed before you pick up a weight. And then you'll be amazed at how quickly your body changes.
Yeah, I like that. So it's still something that you can do, but being wise about it. I think we've been in this mentality for so long of punishing our body to get results. And
you do this intense burn.
Yeah.
Like you don't sweat or throw up or something. You didn't work hard enough, I remember.
I have this My Zone thing that I wear. I don't know if you know what that is, but it will like tell you what zone you're in at the gym. And so it's this game for me to see how high I can get my heart rate a lot of times, where I'm like, when we're talking about listening to our bodies, maybe that's not the best approach for it.
Even what's fun.
Yeah, but I love you're even talking more about slowing down, going outside. Like that is a big thing that I talk about on my podcast too, about how that increases fulfillment and happiness, that connection, that movement, being outdoors, nature in any way. And you're naturally listening to that Latin that your body is speaking and being like, okay, yeah, this is what brings happiness too.
Yeah, I agree. And when we're thinking about how to get more energy supply to our body, I think we all understand that sleep provides energy. We all understand that food provides energy. But what you said there, I wholeheartedly agree with, is that pleasure, purpose. This is a massively underrated ability to give us energy. And when we think about it, when you think about the last time you fell in love, you don't eat, you can't sleep, you can stay up all night and talk. There's a massive amount of energy that comes in when you are happy. And so finding the things in your life and prioritizing these things daily, weekly, that make you happy really matters to the energy that you get to give your body, which it needs in order to navigate these transitions.
Yeah. So I'm hearing you say that all these results came as you learned to slow down. Was there any other things, like some people will talk about meditation or stillness, intentional writing, anything else in your practice that you felt was also game changing in regulating hormones and lifestyle?
Yeah, for sure. I still find that I have yet to lock in stillness type meditation. I find as a productivity junkie, I have found the segue in is in like gentle movement. So for me, yoga is a really great way for me to get the benefits of meditation without feeling like I'm just being so still. It's like been a nice like training wheels for me. And likewise, walking. Like I walk every morning and most nights after dinner, I have a dog, so that one's kind of a given anyway. But that morning walk out in nature has been, I think, one of the best habits that is free and easy, that just continuously grounds me and fuels my soul and calms that nervous system.
I also can relate to that productivity junkie. Definitely a lot of our listeners are there as well. Trying to manage that, but I found the same thing. It's really hard for me to sit for like long meditations. Still practicing it. That's something that I would like to get better and better at. But like walking meditations, even like prayer walks or intentions. Yeah.
Those can be nice, yeah, little segues. I have found that like most women in my world, in your world, are asking Olympic levels of output of themselves, but not treating themselves like an Olympian. They don't have a team cooking their food. They don't have a team of massage therapists. They don't have a team letting them know it's time to rest, taking care of all of the other things. So I think that there is a really important time in midlife where we like eye to eye ourselves in the mirror and be like, okay, where am I at? Where do I want to go? And what really got me here, so that we know how to properly care for ourselves going forward.
So what I hear you saying, Bria, is that we need to be a bit more realistic, especially at this stage of life.
Yeah. Or at least of what it means to get where we want to go. I think if you're really suffering with some of these symptoms of perimenopause, but what you can think about is you want to lose 30 pounds, there are multiple steps that need to happen to bring your body into safeness before it will ever consider releasing weight. So let's start with these phases first so that you get the wins and then get there at some point in time in the next 6 months.
And I know this is a side note, but for those that are watching on YouTube or not, so you can know, Bria has amazing arms. So tell me how this, and shoulders, all the things. So do you still do your strength training? You talked about yoga and all that,
Yeah.
but are you lifting?
I am. Yeah. I pretty commonly, I would say at least, I like to do weightlifting in like a block of either 6 to 12 weeks. And then I usually take a good 6 weeks off just to do like Pilates, mobility, whatever, sometimes nothing if I'm traveling, that kind of thing. But I really like to be intentional with my weight training. So when I'm weight training, which I am right now, it'll be a 12-week long program, and I will lift probably 3 days a week for 30 to 45 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive. You have great arms for that. It's not even like a long period of time, right?
Yeah. I really don't. Then I've always worked out at home in my home gym. So I'm not going to be winning any body competitions, but that's not what I need in my life or what my goal is. So I do believe you can get a lot just with consistency over time.
Okay. And I want to go back to what you were saying a little bit too. I don't know if you can speak to this at all, but like I'm into mental health and wellness. I'm a personal trainer too, therapist. So we are hitting it from like slightly different angles. But I also feel like you talked about it like reverse puberty. But it also reminds me of like the stages of even mental health. You start to get into that perimenopause phase. And I feel like there's also like this boost in confidence. Like you stop caring quite so much about what other people think. And it's almost like you're prepared to let go of other people's expectations or cultural norms. And you're finally better suited to listen to your body and learn that language. But do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, definitely. So if the first gift of perimenopause is that it makes you so uncomfortable that you finally pay attention and change, I think the second gift is that from puberty to perimenopause, we've been hormonally hijacked every single month. Estrogen is like rose-colored glasses, and although it's a wonderful thing, half the month we've been hijacked in the name of having humans, giving birth to humans, procreating, and keeping them alive above ourselves. And now all of a sudden that is starting to go away. And if the rest of your body is sound, if the other functions of your body, I think, are working well, the beautiful gift of that is that it allows you, I think, to access your emotions unhijacked day after day, month after month. And now you have a brain, that's not being somewhat drugged. or again, rose-colored glass every single month. And then when it goes away, you're like, oh my gosh, who am I every 2 weeks?
I can't wait to get to, does it get to the point where it's like steady and you feel like pretty normal? That's not crazy.
Absolutely. I think I work with a lot of women post-menopause who are quite happy where they're at. And I work with some women who never ever used, hormone replacement therapy. I think many that have and that do. And I just think the most important piece is when you go through this journey, when you kind of rise to this occasion right now in perimenopause to solidify your health, look under the hood, do your gut testing, make sure your liver is clear. Like when you really start to understand your hormones, your adrenals, your thyroid, that decision as to whether you need hormone replacement therapy becomes really easy. And if you do need it, it will work for you. And I think that's so, and then you can feel very sane without the hormonal hijacking, because at that point it's steady hormone every day.
Okay. You may or may not need hormone replacement therapy. What about one thing you haven't mentioned is, do you feel like it's really important to have vitamins, those extra supplements, or mostly your diet? What are your thoughts on that?
I definitely think we know that this day and age, there are a lot of vitamins and minerals that the body needs to get from outside sources that we just don't get from our food as well as we once used to. So I would say those ones are primarily your trace minerals and your magnesium and your vitamin D. These are things that are pretty essential to our health and to our optimization. And I would say are fairly safe maintenance minerals for women to be taking on the baseline amount that they offer. When you do functional lab testing, you're able to see, okay, do I have an actual optimal deficiency of vitamin D? How much should I take and for how long to get me back up to an optimal place? But for the most part, I would say, trace minerals. I'm a big fan of bean minerals. If anyone hasn't tried them, I love them so much. Magnesium and vitamin D3, K2. My preference is always in a liquid because it's more absorbable. And some omega-3s. So unless you're good at eating your fatty fish, it's very hard to get that. And it's so helpful to fight inflammation. Although I'm not a big blanket, take these supplements. Those are the ones where I find are pretty safe and pretty supportive for most women to take a few times a year. And then when we do annual functional testing, which would be my best practice for people, you really get to see, okay, is there correction that I need to do? And then that would be more of a temporary focused supplement protocol with lifestyle.
Do you have a recommendation? I know people are from all over the world, but I know a lot of my clients have said, I don't even know where to go. And if you don't have connections to people for that annual functional testing or something, do you have a recommendation on how they can figure out where to go?
You can come to me. This is what I do. First and foremost,
anybody, even if they're from another state.
I work with clients all over the world with functional lab work. So all over Europe, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, the US are primarily where my clients are, probably because it's English speaking. That's all I've got, sadly. I'm working on other ones, but that's the best I can offer. But you can look, again, some naturopaths will run functional labs as well. And then some people have access to functional doctors. They will also run some of the labs that I like to run. But there are many FDNs, which is what I am, a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner. And they're all over the world. So you could look for an FDN. If I don't resonate with you, you can absolutely look for and Google another FDN and see if they can support you.
I'm glad that you did mention that. That was one of my next questions too. So we'll put all of your information in the show notes. People can check you out there. But just for those that don't look at the show notes, where can they find you?
If you want to talk all things hormones and perimenopause, you can come check out the Period Whisperer podcast anywhere you get your pods. Or I do love to hang out on Instagram at Bria_period_whisperer. And from there, you can find all the things, how to book a call, how to connect, that kind of thing.
Okay, wonderful. I know it's going to help a lot of people. And I know we're all feeling like we have more question marks than answers a lot of times. We don't feel maybe equipped to listen and understand our body in the way that we'd like. It's just really hard to know where to go. Like I just mentioned before, I got all those labs and the green light, but even still, like you said, you just feel a little bit unsettled. Maybe there's more. There is more. I can feel that there's more, but what do I do about it? So I'm glad that you're speaking more to that to help guide us in some of those things. And I just wanted to review a few of the things that you said, like doing an energy audit, winding down for better sleep, good nutrition, functional movement. Honestly, the main takeaway that I got from this is slowing down more enough to listen to what your body needs, and don't be so afraid of giving it what it needs, even if that means backing off of a rigorous exercise routine sometimes, even if that induces anxiety. But just a little bit more, maybe a little more yoga, maybe a little more walking.
Notice what comes up in the silence, I think, and then explore that a little. So often that's you heard your body's voice being like, oh, finally, it's quite enough for you to listen to me.
And then just a couple more questions, just brief ones. The second to last one, is there anything that you didn't get to speak to today that you feel like you want to leave with women that are in this space really trying to figure this out that you might want to mention before we end?
Yeah, I think we covered a lot of pieces. And just to your point, start with these foundational pieces. If you're doing the things and the things aren't working, that's how you know it is time to reach out and get some support. That being said, I really feel very strongly, and everyone's different about this, that someone should be going over your labs, and it should take a while for them to go over your lab with you. Like, it's really important. I think my clients get great results because they stay very compliant, because we spend a whole hour going over one lab so that they really understand what is going on in their body specifically. So if the labs you're having run aren't answering the question why for you, dig deeper.
Yeah, great advice. And then last but not least, I'd love to ask my podcast guests how they're personally creating more fulfillment in their life. Maybe it's something super small, maybe it's something bigger that's really been game-changing for you personally lately.
Oh gosh, that's such a great question.
I'm putting you on the spot. I apologize.
No, I do have more fulfillment. I think I am learning to sleep in more. And it's a very interesting, and learning to relax more. It's something that I used to do with just so much shame and guilt. So I think just allowing myself, like, every weekend, one day to do just about absolutely nothing has been one of the best gifts I can give myself, and provides energy for me to give back in a bigger way when I'm on.
Ooh, that's a good one. And I think most parents can relate to that. Like, wait, I can do that without guilt? Just let
my kids are teenagers now, so I realize that's not necessarily a doable thing when you have young kids, but when you do, take it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great way to end, and something that I'm going to continue to try to do. I'm not super successful yet, but I keep trying.
Working at it, it'll come.
Thank you, Bria, so much for coming on the show. It was such a pleasure to pick your brain a little bit and get some guidance on how we can take our life to the next level. So I appreciate having you on the show.
Thank you so much, Kendra.
I'm so glad you were here for this second part. It's amazing what a mindset shift and small sustainable habits can do for your peace and purpose. To keep growing, sign up for our Find Your Focus and Launch Your Podcast courses at fulfillmenttherapy.org and start creating the life and purpose you've been dreaming of. You can also email us at hello@fulfillmenttherapy.org if you'd like a free coaching call that might even become a podcast episode. We'll see you back here every Monday with a new episode. Until then. Hey friends, if you enjoyed this episode, a quick 30-second share can help someone else find support and help this podcast grow. Leaving a review on Apple Podcasts boosts visibility and keeps the show alive. Your simple acts make a big difference. I'll see you back here each week for more life-changing episodes.